Thanks, Doreen. We'll just take a seat there. Take that with you.
Good morning, Mr. Andrews. I thought I'd call in and see how you're getting along.
Oh, fine, thanks. I wouldn't mind a few more pupils, but that might take a while.
Yes, well, that will be up to you, won't it? If the classes are interesting and the women realize the value they'll be when they're released, I'm sure the attendance will improve.
Yeah, I don't think the surroundings are exactly conducive to absorbing new ideas.
Yes, they are rather drab, aren't they? Why don't we see what we can do about getting some funding to brighten the place up a bit?
Oh, that'd be marvellous. Sid's already offered to help.
Oh, that's good. I must say it's nice to have a man about the place.
Oh, for crying out loud, why don't you watch where the hell you're going? You think I enjoy folding and stacking these bloody things all day long?
Oh, don't worry, love, I'll help you.
I'll do it myself. Oh, listen, I'm sorry. It's just that everything's getting on top of me at the moment. When I was on the outside, it drove me crazy, and it's driving me crazy in here. Everything I try to do goes wrong somehow.
What are you talking about? Look how you helped us when you were on the outside.
Yeah, well, fat lot of good that did, didn't it? All I ended up doing was making myself out to be a liar and a fool.
Well, at least you tried, and that's what it's important.
Well, I'll tell you what I should have done. I should have headed for the hills and disappeared when I had the chance instead of trying to fight a system that can't be beaten.
Maybe. But what it did show was that you weren't just looking after yourself. When you got the chance, you thought of your friends first. And don't forget, it was you that finally put that bastard Jock Stewart where he belongs.
Yeah. Well, at least that helped settle the score for Sharon. Doesn't bring her back, though.
Yeah, well. Hey, I wonder why our mystery woman went to the centre today.
Well, I couldn't care less. At least it gets her out of my hair for a while.
Maybe she's woken up the fact that we're on to her. Or maybe she's got the message that we're not speaking to her, so she decided to stop snooping.
Oh, I doubt it. Doreen went to classes again today, didn't she? Maybe she thinks that she can get something out of Doreen when not around.
Doreen wouldn't do that. Not after you told her to keep her trap shut last night.
Yeah, well, she better not. Trouble with Doreen is, though, she's so lovesick over that damn teacher, she could blab her head off without even thinking about it.
All right, who's on trolley duty today? There's still a load to be picked up from the examination room.
Oh, I am, Mr. Fletcher. I'm just on my way now. Hey, Mr. Fletcher, have you seen Sid? The wheels on this trolley need oiling.
No, I haven't. You know, I don't know how we ever got on without him. I've never known so many things to go wrong at the same time.
Because the equipment in this joint is older than me.
And she lives on her own, so I'm a bit worried about her. I was wondering if I could make a quick phone call.
Oh, yes, that's quite understandable. Let's go to reception, see what we can work out.
It's called the Modern Living course, and it covers fairly basic information about what most people would think of as ordinary day-to-day occurrences. You know, like budgeting, how to operate a bank account, government departments, social services, and how they can help. It's all set out very simply, so that they can understand it clearly.
Well, it certainly sounds like a lot of work. I only hope you get the return you're expecting. You've got to realize that these women are losers. They always have been, and they always will be. They don't want to change. They're perfectly happy drifting along from one disaster to another because they're used to it.
Well, you've had a lot more experience with them than I have, and you could be right. But I hope not. Maybe they're too used to the old approach. Maybe a new face on the scene might make them curious enough to find out what I'm up to. At this stage, all I want is the chance to try.
Well, I certainly admire your enthusiasm. And as you say, a new face around the place may at least get them interested.
I think they'll learn to appreciate what I'm trying to do. You know what happened to me this morning?
What?
Doreen stayed up all night to knit these for me. She's coming to classes every morning, and she's really showing an interest. If she talks about it to the others, they may follow suit.
Are you sure it's not just you she's interested in?
No, she's over that now. We had a talk this morning, and I made it pretty clear.
Well, it's a pity your course doesn't cover knitting. She could do with some lessons by the look of these. Well, I've got to go and supervise your budding students at lunch. Just remember, the women in here don't get much of a chance to see young men at close range. And if it comes to a toss between learning and their more basic instincts, I think I know which one will win.
Well, if you hear me yell rape, come running.
How safe should a bicycle be? How should it be equipped for use? Draft a regulation or rule to cover your ideas for day and night use. Yeah.
Oh, Burns. I was just saying to Mr. Andrews that I don't think there's much point in your attending his classes. If those socks are any indication of your abilities, well, it's going to take you another 20 years to pick up anything worthwhile.
Yeah, well, I was coming back from getting that wool for Doreen. I overheard Sandy asking Fletch if she could make a phone call.
That's funny. She made another one just before lunch today.
Well, it's 2 in 2 days. Smacks of special treatment, if you ask me.
Yeah, well, it was obvious from the way she was talking to him. She knew the regulations. Now, that's a bit much for a first-timer, don't you think?
You know, I reckon it's about time we dropped a hint to the screws that we're onto her. Hang on. Hey, Lil.
I better go and find Dora and see if she's all right. She was right behind me in the rec room when we was going to lunch, and she never turned up.
Yeah, I'll wait for Bea.
Oh, Dora! What's the matter, love?
Oh, Lizzie, I've gone and made a bloody fool of myself again. I thought he really cared about me. And then he went and told Vinegar Tits of all people. I bet they had a real beaut laugh about it, too.
Who, Vera and that teacher bloke?
Yeah, she knew all about the socks, and she said how rotten they were. He must have told her the whole thing, and it was supposed to be a secret. Oh, God, I hate him. And he can stick his bloody stinking glasses. I'll never go back there again.
Well, there's another score to settle. It's going to be a busy day, isn't it? Lizzie, you and I are going to go to those classes this afternoon.
Well, for better or for worse, there are the rosters. It's a bit like working on a giant-sized crossword puzzle.
I'm glad it's your job and not mine.
Yeah.
Oh, I see there are a lot of double shifts again.
Yes, well, I can't help it. That's what took so long. Why the hell didn't the department send us another senior officer instead of that dewy-eyed teacher?
I take it you're not impressed.
Yes, well, you could say that. If I had an officer to spare, I'd have one in the classroom with him just to watch him. He's all enthusiasm and no experience.
Well, after talking to him this morning, I don't agree. I think he's a very clever young man. He's already started to adapt some of his previous ideas, and I think they're very worthwhile and workable.
Ah, yes, well, we'll see. But I tell you, if he makes one false move, the women will have him for breakfast.
Come in. Well, I must say how pleased I am to see such an improved attendance this afternoon. If you'd all like to sit down, I'll explain some of the courses available, and then we'll make a start. Sit down. Well, first of all, I'd like to talk about a course called Modern Living.
Excuse me, sir.
Yes?
Before we start, we'd just like to get a few of the rules clear.
Such as?
As we're going to be working so closely together, it's possible you might pick up the odd bit of personal information about us, right?
Yes, I suppose so. Why?
Well, we just want to know if you're going to pass those bits of personal information over to the screws. The same way you did with Doreen Burns. And at present, she sat up all night knitting for you.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Oh, come off it. I bet you and Vera had a damn good laugh over the way Doreen feels about you and the funny little present she made for you. Now, you're not going to deny that, are you?
I most certainly do deny that. That's not what happened at all. It was a very kind and thoughtful gesture. That's why I mentioned it to Miss Bennett. I certainly didn't ridicule Doreen or her motives. She is the only loyal supporter of the school.
Well, as you can see, she isn't any longer.
Yes, well, Doreen was a little confused about our relationship because I took a bit of notice of her and tried to help her. That's my job. I thought I'd explain that to her.
And you didn't lead her on?
No, of course not. And if that's why you're all here this afternoon, then we're all just wasting our time. You might as well all go back to your usual jobs and leave the classes for those who want to get a bit more out of their lives.
Okay, Teach. We'll give you the benefit of the doubt this time. Go on, improve our lousy lives. God knows they couldn't be any worse than they are already.
Right. Well, I'd like to start us off by having a game which is a little like Monopoly. And instead of the usual game, we're going to use our money to work out budgets for different kinds of households. This is to enable us to use our available finances to the best effect.
Hey, better listen to this, Lizzie. Might teach you how to get more value for your money out of the buy-ups.
Exactly.